Access to the candidate is even more restricted than on a challenger's campaign.
No lower the level. At taxpayer expense, Mr. Bush used the visits to try to score political points on the economy.
The president's bubble is harder to break through.
The bulk of the press corps may see the president at a distance, may actually go to events and watch him on a TV screen, just as you or I could at home.
I'm in Phoenix, and we're about to feed some pool tape on path 2, about 10 minutes worth of stuff.
Many in the press corps complain that this White House has greater distrust for the media than previous administrations, viewing the press as just another special interest group.
They see us as a special interest dedicated to playing this game of gotcha, of getting headlines, getting sizzle, getting more conflict in order to sell more newspapers, magazines, get the ratings up. And because they see us as a special interest, they don't feel the same obligation to talk to us.
I wish you to give me this written question ahead of time so I can plan for it.
While he likes individual reporters, the reality is that he has a deep distrust of the press and has had much fewer press conferences than his predecessors.
I'm sure something will pop in my head here in the midst of this press conference, all the pressure of trying to come up with an answer, but it hadn't yet.
He's held only 11 press conferences in over 3 years, which, by the way, is historically by far the smallest number since before Eisenhower. By far. A third the number of press conferences his father had.
Observers say Mr. Bush came to distrust the press when he looked at how the media treated his predecessors.
President Clinton had a very bad experience with the press, quite obviously, during his time in office, felt that the press was out to embarrass him, not out to cover important issues. And the current President Bush watched his father and felt that his father's tough time as president, failure to get reelected, was based in part on the press performing its responsibilities in a way that did not do credit to themselves or serve the public interest.
I guess I feel that as a rule of thumb, the longer you're in office, the more you distrust and dislike the press.
So what do you tell the troops here today, sir?
Yeah, I'm proud of you. You're about to hear a speech. Listen to every word of it.
In many ways, the Bush White House stance on the press is part of an evolution of discipline in presidential politics. The media environment practically demands the most disciplined candidate.
First of all, I don't like being disciplined, and people will tell you I was not a disciplined candidate with the press. Part of that's part of who I am, but a lot of that is because I was really fighting back against something I think is very wrong with American politics. The idea that everything has to be poll-driven, everything has to be focus grouped. You mustn't say anything that's controversial. What about the truth? If I ever did do this again, I wouldn't change it a bit, because I think America desperately needs politicians who will say what they think instead of saying what they're supposed to say.
For the media covering the president, the day's events have ended, and it's time to move on.
No, we do not want this bus. This bus is going to the back of the plane. We want to go to the front of the plane.
Next stop, Texas. Arrival, 10:30 p.m. Central Time, the end of a 16-hour day. Meanwhile, the president is already back at the ranch,